what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video. Once again, taking a look at the pre-built computers that are available on Amazon for the month of June. You guys know the deal. Things are kind of depressing right now, but people are trying to get their game on, so yeah, pre-builts are a decent route to go if you can find the right deal. If you're looking to go super low end, I'm not going to get into those PCs that much. I'll leave a couple links in the description box below that you can check out, but if you're going super low end to play games like League of Legends, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and just get better frame rates on those, at that point, you could either buy like a really low-end PC and then just buy like a GT 730, a GT 1030 and pop it in, and you'll have a pretty decent PC good to go. Or you could just outright build it. That is an option. If you want to go super low-end, that you're looking to just play like esports types titles, you'll be fine on that end. But if you're trying to do like high-end gaming, Red Dead Redemption, Resident Evil Village, games like that, you'll want to get something obviously more high-end. So let's get right into it. We're going to start things off at the sub $800 tier, $780 for the 2021 HP Pavilion gaming desktop with a Ryzen 5 processor. This is a 6-core CPU, a GeForce GTX 1650 Super 4GB, 8GB of RAM, and a 256GB PCIe NVMe. Of course, you get Windows 10 installed on there. Now, a 1650 Super is pretty good for 1080p gaming. I wouldn't really push it past 1080p. I mean, you could with some games, but if you're playing higher-end games, I really think 1080p is going to be the optimal resolution if you do want to get higher frame rates as well. If you look at the price of the 1650 Super, it's going for about $400 to $450 new, so you're essentially getting every other part outside of the GPU for around $320 if you do factor in that at $450. If you factor in at $400, like $380. That's pretty good, all things considered, for everything that you're getting already built for you. 780, yeah, you have a pretty good 1080p machine right here, and again, you can push it to 1440p for sure in the certain games, but I think sticking with 1080p would be ideal. Okay, next up, we're going to go sub $1,000, but still $950, so a little bit more expensive. The CyberpowerPC Gamer Xtreme Intel i5 10400F 2.9 GHz GeForce GTX 1660 Super, 8GB of DDR4 RAM, and then you have a 500GB NVMe SSD, of course Windows 10 installed on here as well. Let us look at how expensive a 1660 Super is. So this is a step up from the 1650 Super, of course. And what you'll find is the 1660 Super is going anywhere from $620 to $700. So from a value standpoint, this is actually quite good. I didn't even know a 1660 Super was this expensive. I thought it was around the $550 to $600 range, but no, a lot of the listings are going for, you know, $640 to $660, even $700. This is really good from a value standpoint, all things considered from that end. If you factor it in at $650, you're getting every other part for $300. Yeah, $650, $950 minus $650. Yeah, $300, which is pretty good. CPU, 8GB of DDR4 RAM, a 500GB NVMe SSD, and then Windows 10, and of course everything else, power supply. Case. Pretty good for $950. Again, a very good 1080p machine. This one definitely can push 1440p as well in certain games, but yeah, a 1660 Super is still holding up quite nicely, so that's definitely not a bad option. At $1,100, we have the Skytech Legacy Mini Gaming Desktop, Ryzen 7 2700 8-core, 3.2 GHz, NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1660 Ti, 6GB, a 500GB SSD. You got 16GB of DDR4 RAM. Definite thumbs up for me. And then Windows 10 is also installed there. So $1,100 is making this quite a bit more pricey, but let us look up the price of the 1660 Ti, and this, much like the 1660 Super, is going for around that $600 range. I'm seeing listings as high as $750. Wouldn't be paying $750 for it, but even if you factor it in at $600, this one has a nice amount of bells and whistles to it. 16GB of DDR4 RAM, a Ryzen 7 2700, yeah, not the latest gen, but still pretty decent, 500GB SSD. A decent option, all things considered, for $1,100. There is another option for $1,025, which has a Ryzen 3 in it, and that kind of eliminates it right there. I mean, $1,025 and a Ryzen 3. No moss on that, but this option for $1,100 is pretty good. Next up, also want to give a shout out to the Skytech Chronos Mini. This has a Ryzen 5 3600, RTX 2060, 1TB SSD, 16GB of DDR4 RAM as well, B450 1080p motherboard and Windows 10 installed. This is $1,500. This I was really on the fence of including it on the list. If you look up the RTX 2060, it is, however, going for around $800. $750 seems to be the lowest. But yeah, it is going for as high as $800 and change. So yeah, it's an expensive GPU. I mean, even the bids right now that are up for another day and a half or so, they're already up to $600. So $1,500 is a hard pill to swallow for a PC. Again, a little bit on the fence. If you're on the market to spend $1,500, honestly, I would throw in just a couple hundred more dollars and get something like really high end, just because you're dropping 15 anyway. You're still kind of in that mid range here with the 2060. Don't get me wrong, a 2060 can kill it with a lot of games. It's going to do really, really well at 1080p, 1440p, but $1,500 is just a little bit expensive. However, right now, and I don't know how long this is going to last for, they do have a save an extra $75 when you apply in a coupon on Amazon, so you literally check a box and it's actually $1,425. Again, I don't know how long that's lasting for, but maybe that'll entice you a little bit more to pick this one up. Okay, next up, we're going all the way up to $2,000. AMD Ryzen 5 5600X 3.7 GHz, AMD 6800, 16 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM at 3200, 1 terabyte NVMe, which is quite nice, B550 motherboard, and a 650 watt gold power supply. Now, let us look up how much a 6800 is. I am going to assume that it's going to be quite expensive. And yes, it is. It's going for around $1,400 to $1,500. So you're talking about quite an expensive GPU here for an RX 6800. It levels out at around 1400, I should say. It seems like the XTs are 15, but yeah, 1400 GPU is still pretty expensive, and then you're getting all this other stuff for $2,000. For Ryzen 5 5600X is quite good. You've got 16 gigabytes of RAM in there, which is nice. A 1 terabyte NVMe, that's awesome. So, yes, expensive, but $2,000, and this is a pretty high-end rig that's going to do really, really well in the latest games. Next up, we have two more PCs. I'll go through these quickly since they're super high-end. And, you know, if you're going to drop this much money, obviously you're expecting something quite good. Skytech Siege 3.0, Intel i7 10700K, 3.8 gigahertz, an RTX 3070, 1 terabyte SSD. You've got a lot of other stuff in there. A Z490 motherboard, and Windows 10, of course. A 3070 is quite expensive. I assume it's going to be around the $1,400 to $1,500 range. Let's look that up right now. Yeah, $1,400 to $1,500, going as high as $1,900. So, yeah, you guys can see the 3070 and 3080 are really the jacked up price GPUs right now. Like, these GPUs are just insanely expensive. $2,450, a 3070 can kill it. We have a lot of gameplay of a 3070 in a similar rig. We have a Ryzen CPU, but, you know, you can expect comparable performance. We have a lot of gameplay, and the 3070 always does really well in the latest games. We have Days Gone gameplay and a bunch of the newer titles. I think we have some Red Dead gameplay as well. So check that out if you want a more, you know, accurate and representation of the 3070. You can see a lot of that gameplay on the channel. And lastly, if you do want to go all in with an RTX 3080, the Skytech Prism 2 gaming PC, AMD Ryzen 7 5800X, and RTX 3080 10GB, 1 terabyte Gen 4 SSD, 16 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM, an X570 motherboard, and a 750 watt gold power supply is $3,000. Obviously, I have a 3080. We've done a lot of testing of the 3080 on the channel as well. The GPU is incredible. It can run games at 4K, 1440p, whatever you want to do. If you play games at 1440p, you want to go that 1440p 144 Hz route. If you go 4K, 60 Hz, it's a beast of a GPU. I highly recommend that if you can get a 3080, you know, you do try to get it at a better price, but, you know, it is what it is with the market right now. Luckily, I was able to sneak in and get it at a, you know, the regular price, but right now, $3,000, it is what it is. That's how much you're going to be paying for a PC with a 3080 in it, but this PC would beast through pretty much any game that is coming out. But that's going to wrap up this one, guys. Again, a pretty depressing time in the PC market, but I'll keep doing these videos, keep following the market. Prices are going up and up. I know a lot of you guys have been putting that out in the comments, like following the videos I've been posting every month, that yeah, the PCs like 6 months ago, we were talking about them being really expensive. They just got up in price. So yeah, it's kind of, you know, how long do we have left to wait? That's going to wrap up this one. Let me know all of your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. If you guys have a request for a future video, you can leave that in the comments as well. And I am out. Peace out.